place legends.
Sure.
Is there a team to you when you look around this? His is Minnesota, mine's Washington. Is there a team you look at and you're like, there's just a, last year Houston shocked us.
Yeah.
Do you think? These rookie quarterbacks. Is there just a team, Mark, that you look at and you think, God, they're getting disrespected. They get no love at all.
I feel like Minnesota. I might agree with J-Mac a little bit. The big question mark is the quarterback. Is Sam Darnold going to be,
you like him?
I love Sam. Is he going to be enough for that team that's built to win right now is the big question. And if he's not, is JJ McCarthy ready? Okay, well, that's a big, big if, especially in an offense like that runs through the quarterback.
It does.
Right? Oh, 100%. It's Kevin O'Connell. Everything is seen through the quarterback's lens.
What do you mean when you say that?
I think the entire building revolves around the quarterback. And I don't care if it's ticket sales, promotional stuff, offensive scheme, make sure we have a left tackle, make sure the quarterback's upright, make sure we have a running game, make sure we have a defense. That Brian Flores defense is legit, and they're built to win now.
Yeah.
That offense around whoever's playing quarterback is built to win now.
Yes.
They just re-upped their tackle, big money, maybe the most money in the franchise history. That tells me they're in it to win it right this second.
That's what I feel like.
So if the biggest question mark is the quarterback, that's a big one. And, hopefully Sam proves that he's what if he comes in and he's like Rich Gannon?
By the way,
reemerges and second part of his career and just lights the world on fire.
Baker and Geno, new career.
100%.
New career.
100%. And it's a change in regime, a change in philosophy. And when you get in one of those systems, just for the audience's perspective, as a quarterback, okay, here we go.
They get offense.
This is nice.
Right.
And it's hard when it's more of a defensive regime. That's just the nature of the game. I'm sure the defensive guys love it, and that's great. But as a quarterback specifically, it's nice to have either a former quarterback or former offensive coordinator or something as your head coach running the show.
Okay. I love this. Love this for two main reasons. First off, if you're listening to what Sanchez is saying right now, he's saying that the Minnesota Vikings are built to win now, that they just need the quarterback. I am a huge fan of Kevin O'Connell. I think the media, for the most part, and ex-players know how legit Kevin O'Connell is, but it seems to me that a lot of fans, outside of maybe Minnesota Vikings fans, of course, don't realize how legit of a head coach he really is. How great and top level of not only from an offensive perspective, but also managing a team, culture, making players feel supported. It matters so much. And I think that there's probably a tremendous amount of belief in that locker room. And they went out and paid for Sam Darnold, relatively speaking. And I really, really believe that Sam Darnold can have tremendous amount of success. I really do. And truthfully, all he does is need to prove to be competent and consistent. And that will be enough to do some serious damage. And I'm recording this on the day that the preseason game, I'm recording this in the middle of the night, actually, 1 o'clock in the morning, always working hard, after the preseason game. Now, for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I am a firm believer we should not take too much from preseason games. We should not. There's very limited of what we can take from preseason. And I actually look more from a psychological viewpoint and personality rather than what they're actually doing, their X's and O's, whatever it may be. Because if you just take some of these very limited, snapshots of these players in a preseason setting, I mean, literally there was like random backup quarterbacks who were like 28 years old, I've never even heard of, playing better than what Patrick Mahomes did today, right? So like you have to just be so careful. You can't just be like, this guy went, 10 for 10 for 200 yards. It's like, no, that's awesome, but like we have to keep this all in context here. But the thing that I really took away, and this was with a few quarterbacks, honestly, but definitely with JJ McCarthy, was that he was clearly comfortable and was ready to execute the offense, which I thought was awesome, because there's been such this narrative, because I guess he wasn't asked to do a tremendous amount with Michigan and Harbaugh. And they were like, he's really not that good of a quarterback. You know, they didn't really rely on him. And I kept saying, like, well, they didn't need to rely on him. And they were just playing smart football. Like, you're not going to just use your quarterback and make him do all this crazy stuff just because you can. Like, that's not how you play football. That's not how you play winning football. And Harbaugh's not interested in just making a singular player a star. He wants to win. They play winning football. Whatever the game gives to them, that's what they do. That's what they did. And they won. And so I think people had this very narrow perception of JJ McCarthy. They were honestly painting the picture like he was essentially Peyton Manning's last season, right? Like a game manager to like the nth degree who like can barely even throw the ball more than 5 yards. Like all I can think about is Peyton Manning in that Super Bowl, and I'm just like watching that and just thinking to myself, I don't even understand what I'm watching right now. Like it's crazy that this is a better situation to have him in this game than any other quarterback. And honestly, that was the energy that I was getting from a lot of people talking about JJ, right? That is like you felt like the dude can't throw more than 6 yards down the field. And yet, that's obviously not the case. He had a beautiful ball for a touchdown. I don't know what it exactly was, 20, 30, 40 yards. I mean, like, it was just a beautiful pass, a confident pass. He just looked so composed. Obviously, it wasn't a flawless outing, but I look at something like that and just, I try to gauge comfortability. Minnesota Viking fans won't want to hear this, but Caleb looked very comfortable to me. Jaden Daniels looked very comfortable to me. Like, that's what I'm looking. Do you look comfortable? Because a lot of these young quarterbacks, sometimes even older, more mature quarterbacks, they just look overwhelmed. Like, it's just, and it doesn't have to be choking. It doesn't have to be like, everyone's going to make some mistakes. Justin Fields, perfect example, had moments where he looked overwhelmed, right? He actually fumbled, and whether you want to blame it on the center or not, it still were plays that just looked uncomfortable, right? And that's what he was doing in Chicago. You didn't get that from JJ, right? Again, it obviously was not flawless. He's obviously going to make mistakes. So I'm not trying to say, oh, that was his perfect outing, no issues whatsoever. Because I think he had an interception, if memory serves me correctly. I think he had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. I forget. I'm not sure. But the point is that honestly, if you even look confident for like 3 straight throws, 3 straight snaps, that's all I'm looking for in a preseason game. Seriously, I'm not looking for much because I want to keep my view on a preseason game incredibly narrow. Because, like I said, there's people that literally look better than Patrick Mahomes. And it's like, okay, sure. So you just have to, this is one of the rare occasions, because I usually like to peel back and pull back. But for this, I like to just kind of narrow in and be like, what did I like? What did I see that I liked? And I'm just going to leave it at that. And then that's what I got with JJ. So the reason why I'm trying to emphasize this is whether Sam Darnold is ready or is going to be legit or not, I think JJ could step up. Now, I think if JJ was forced to step up in day 1, it won't be as smooth as if Sam Darnold can be legit, because I think Sam Darnold can bring a level of veteran leadership, and as well as this kind of reemergence that a team, especially a young team, I think could really rally behind. They're not going to 100% rally behind JJ just yet, because he is young, because he is a rookie. Just like the 49ers that first year, they weren't really rallying behind Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was truly just a vessel. Then that second year, they kind of slowly started to rally behind him. And even now, I wouldn't say that they 100% rally behind him. I wouldn't say that's Brock Purdy's team. I just wouldn't. I would say it's Shanahan's team. It's Christian McCaffrey's team, right? Like it just, that's the energy that I get. And you can obviously win. You can obviously have a tremendous amount of success. But if Sam Darnold can really rewrite his NFL story, I think the Vikings will love it. And I think that locker room will love it. I think the media will love it. I think the fans will love it. It'll be very Geno Smith with Seattle. And there'll just be this story that people can't wait to get behind, and they'll be excited. And then there'll be this feeling of limitless potential because they remember of what the promise of Sam Darnold was. And then there's going to be this feeling of, oh my God, what is the limit for the Minnesota Vikings? And then the Vikings are going to be like, what is the limit? Like, the sky's the limit. We can do this. they'll have to talk themselves up a little bit more if JJ McCarthy is leading that team, I believe, personally. He is very young. The odds of him just stepping in, balling out, winning 2-3 playoff games, going to a Super Bowl, it's just unlikely for any quarterback in that situation, right? That's not a knock on JJ. I love JJ, but it's just different. If Sam Darnold can step up and be a legitimate bona fide quarterback, then there'll be people thinking we absolutely can do a deep playoff run. We absolutely can get to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. It'll just be more of that belief. And that's what I'm excited to see. So it's going to be so fascinating to see how this season unfolds, how quickly Sam Darnold can get his legs under him, and if he does, what this team looks like. And if he doesn't, if he struggles a little bit, does Kevin want to switch to JJ? I personally think that JJ McCarthy should most likely sit for the entire season. I'm a huge fan of that personally. But I understand if what Sanchez is saying is 100% accurate about this team ready to win now. And of course, obviously, if Sam is really struggling, then yeah, I guess, at this day and age, you do just throw them in there and hope you do have a Brock Purdy moment or a CJ Stroud moment and see where things can go. I think that's the benefit of having such a top level offensive minded head coach who's going to be making that decision because he runs the offense. It's obviously his decision, so he will know what's right. Right? If he was a defensive head coach, then he's going to be relying on his offensive coordinator. Do you think he's ready? Do you think he's not ready? Like it's like this weird, extra degree of separation that just makes it a little bit harder, I think, to accurately evaluate the quarterback and make the correct decision. Because the offensive coordinator could say, hey, JJ McCarthy's ready, put him in there. But the head coach defensive mind's like, no, Sam Darnold, go. Right? Like you could just get that disconnect. Fortunately, the Vikings don't have that, so I'm really going to be fascinated to see how this all unfolds. You guys know for months now, I've been calling this division a gauntlet, can't miss TV. I think it's a safer bet to look at, obviously, the Packers and the Lions since they were just there, as well as the Bears. The Bears have made serious moves, but the Vikings are clearly being overlooked, and they need not be. So, gosh, these games, these divisional games with the Vikings and the Bears and the Packers and the Lions, oh my God, man, I just cannot wait. I hope a lot of those games are like nationally televised games. Either way, I'll be watching them, but I just hope we can get some I haven't really looked at like the national schedule, so I don't know, but God, those games are going to be so amazing, and there's going to be so much at stake. They're going to be just fighting like crazy for the division, and wow, there's going to be wild card spots that are just who can take it? Who can grab it? Which team can eke out 2 wins instead of just go 1-1, right? Who messes up and goes 0-2, right? Like it's going to just be so ruthless. Oh my God, it's going to be a dogfight. And I just keep saying this. I can't wait. I really, really cannot wait. That's why I'm making these videos at 1:16 in the morning. So, cannot wait. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think the Minnesota Vikings are kind of like going under the radar and a dark horse for being, to being actually like a win now team, especially if they have the quarterback situation settled? Let me know in the comments below. Also, I would love to hear who you want to start, whether JJ McCarthy, Sam Darnold. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.